I'm going to look at how masculinity is constructed and transformed in Rider Haggard's King Solomon's Mines, with reference to Barbara J. Black and Bradley Dean as key critical sources. My aim is to show how these two sources demonstrate the different constructions of masculinity within Haggard's text, and also how the text demonstrates a transformative moment in the construction of masculinity, from gentleman to savage. The three key characters in the text are Sir Henry Curtis, the upper-class knight, Alan Quatermain, the hunter, and Captain Good, the naval officer. So what these three characters demonstrate is a microcosm of Clubland. Clubland is defined as an elite of ruling class males consolidating power among men and the flagship of English high capitalism. Clubland becomes an area where English men can come together and talk and identify about their anxieties about gender, sexuality and class. It's also called a flight from domesticity, where men are able to get away from their domestic lives and come together to socialise and interact with each other. The homosocial network works through a it takes one to know one dynamic. It's also described as a charged world of secrets, and this secrecy is turned into a sign of the closet. We can see in King Solomon's Mines that the men identify with each other, one, through their characteristics, through their gentlemanly appeal and the way that they act and interact with each other. We can also see that they band together because of the secrets of the mines and for the pursuit to find out what happened to Sir Henry's brother. These men identify something in each other which they all see in themselves, which allows them to bond very quickly and very easily into this idea of a microcosm of Clubland, of an interactive situation where they leisurely socialise and pursue something which is exciting and interesting. This Clubland idea can be extended when looking at Good as the epitome of the dandy. The dandy is described as very fashionable, the details being on their dress and their clothes, the key of sorts that cracks the code of fashionable male existence. Is dandyism's also described as situated within the leisure class aristocratic ethos. We can see that Good epitomises this idea of the dandy, especially when he moves from a London clubland scene to an imperial landscape. It says that he had thoroughly shaken out his trousers, coat and waistcoat and was now folding them neatly until he was ready to put them on. So what we can see from this is that Good is still, even in a new imperial setting, preoccupied with his own appearance. His trousers become a symbol for his origins within London and his origin as a gentleman. We also see that he's obsessed with shaving and keeping this clean-cut shave. We can see that the men exemplify the world of Clubland then in an imperial setting, and that his attachment to his trousers with Good show how this movement from a London landscape to an African landscape. So Dean says the search for imperial masculinity as a transformative encounter between the modern and the primitive. That's what Good's trousers become a symbol of. They become a symbol of the move from a modern to a primitive ideal. Good goes from being described as stout, dark and fashionable to wearing a chainmail shirt tucked into his corduroy trousers. Now this is as he's about to enter into battle after identifying with Umbopa as a leader of the tribe and wanting to help him regain his former position. So we can see that they fight within the battle. Him, Quatermain and Curtis all dress up in native wear and they all go out to battle in order to help Umbopa regain his former glory. The men then fight and become honorary members of the tribe to the point where Umbopa says that they should not let any more white men come into the area. So what we see here is a transformation and an identification with the primitive and the savage. So we see that the gentlemen have gone from a crisis in masculinity to an identification with the clubland scene and a construction of a gentleman masculinity of being upper class and wealthy. But by removing them from their British and their homeland setting onto an imperial plane, we can see that they've had to construct a new masculinity in order to continue to survive in this world. So we see that they've gone through a metamorphosis process. They've gone from a gentleman into this idea of a savage and a primitive masculinity, which involves raw strength, being big, being highly charged, being well respected. So what I like to call this is they have become savage gentlemen. So what they've done is they've gone from one masculinity to another, but one hasn't superimposed the other. What it's done is that they've created a kind of hybrid of masculinity where they can have the qualities of the gentleman in a homeland setting, but also on an imperial plane they can adapt and become something new and something that people respect and identify with, especially after the battle. So we can say that atavism becomes a sign of strength rather than of weakness, and it offers an empowering fantasy. So what we can see is that Black and Dean have allowed us to see this metamorphosis and emergence of what was once a very static masculinity to one that has identified and changed and adapted to the setting that they are in.